ETS Jets, and welcome back to another episode of the Jets Ward. My name is Ryan Ward, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys tonight. If you have been here before, thank you so much for joining me or coming back. If you're new here, thank you so much. I appreciate having you guys. No matter if you're a Jets fan or not, you are always welcome in the Jets Ward. And I got a special one for you guys. We're doing another late round mock draft, but I am not going to be doing it alone. We are going to have someone very, very special to a lot of Jets fans. Someone who's been very popular on X as well. She's got a lot of great ideas. Someone who's shown me support from the beginning of my channel and somebody who I'm so excited to have on the channel. And that is ThatsSoChrista. Welcome to the channel. I'm so excited to have you on.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for your time. And I just want to say I'm so proud of you with this podcast. I always knew that you had the knowledge and the passion. I'm just so proud of you. And thank you again for the time.
Thank you so much for joining. It's really special. I'm really, really happy. And before we even started streaming, before you got on, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a fan of hers. She's coming on. Oh man. And so I'm really excited to have you on. And I always love seeing your opinions and ideas on X. And like the one I've been following the most, Jackson Dart, he's our boy. Welcome to the Dart side.
Yep.
I'm thinking he's going to go first round this year. He nailed the combine interviews today, and he's throwing. I think he's going to show off at the combine this week.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Just how Jackson Dart throws and his mobility. I get Baker Mayfield vibes from the way that he captures a room, his leadership on and off the field. And even when I watch the Ole Miss games, players fight for him. And I just see so many similarities to Baker Mayfield on and off the field. That's why I'm such a big advocate to have Jackson Dart on the Jets. I just really believe he can be really good. I know people say that he's raw, but he has so much potential. I have no doubt with this offense, with this offensive coordinator. I think he really fits the scheme of the short, immediate throws. And the fact that he has been playing in a Lane Kiffin offense, the RPOs, it's in the NFL, so they're kind of moving to that type of offense. And I really believe that with time and the development, Jackson Dart could really be good, and that's why he's our guy. He's our pick. I really feel like.
And that was going to be my next question, because the biggest knock on him so far has been that he doesn't run a pro-style offense. And from what I've seen, the NFL, it needs mobile quarterbacks more. They're using more. If you've seen in the NFL, the Super Bowl this year, both quarterbacks were mobile. They can get out of the pocket and improvise. And that's what the NFL is turning more into. And I think Jackson Dart can fit that bill really, really well. So does it worry you that he doesn't run like a pro-style offense, as they say?
No, I think it would have bothered me maybe 10 years ago. But the NFL has more adapted to college schemes. And like you mentioned, like mobility is key in the NFL. And he has the skills and the tangibles. And he's a guy that I would definitely draft. He did well in the SEC. He put up the numbers. Interceptions are very low. He broke Eli Manning's records all in Ole Miss. He only threw for 6 interceptions. He only had 6 interceptions, which I think is impressive. And I think most of them came to that Florida game, which a lot of people knocked him about. But hey, even the best have their worst games. And the way that Jackson Dart came back from that game, the way he rallied his teammates, the post interview after that game showed me a lot about his character, which ultimately won me over even after that bad game.
He's such a beast. I think he's going to do really, really well. He's my number 1 ranked quarterback in this draft, even over Cam Ward. I know it's crazy, but I think he's going to be better overall for the long term. Is there any other players in this draft that you're really interested in that you'd love if the Jets drafted, or what are your thoughts on that?
I also really love Tyler Warren. My family is very big Penn State fans, so they rave about Tyler Warren. They say how complete of a tight end he is. He can block, he can catch. I know a lot of Jet fans really wanted Brock Bowers. I like Brock Bowers too, but when I look at Tyler Warren, he's just a more complete tight end. No knock to Brock Bowers whatsoever. He's elite at pass catching, but Tyler Warren, if we got him here, he can help the pass. He can block, which would help our run game. He could do so much for this offense, and he's more than a tight end in my opinion. He's just an overall good talent for the Jets to have, and we need more playmakers on offense.
And that seems what the new offense is going to be. We want beasts. We want bullies on this team, somebody who's going to move people. And that's just the AG mindset. And basically the whole team. Aaron Muji seems like that type of player as well. Just aggressiveness, which I love to see. And I love Tyler Warren too. But again, I'm one of those people. Tight end is too high at 7. And I'm worried about that. I was the same on Brock Bowers last year. Loved the player. But where we were picking at last year was way too high. Loved the Olu Fashanu pick. Think you need to. We have a left tackle of the future, which is great. But if we ended up with Tyler Warren, I'd be really happy as a Penn State fan as well. Imagine Tyler Warren this year, Drew Allar next year. That would be crazy as well. Something to think about for the future too.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. But anyway, we are going to be doing a mock draft tonight. Just another first round mock draft. We're using the NFL mock draft database, which I really think is the best one out there because it seems the most accurate so far with all of these new rookies coming in. It's not sending people like not putting Cam Ward in the second round or third round like a lot of these other ones have been doing, which has been shocking me as well. But getting into it, what we are going to do with this mock draft is we are going to be taking turns. Krista is going to have the honor of doing the first pick for the Titans. We are going to just stick and pick at these times. No trades going off, but we are just going to stick and pick. And Krista, with that being said, the Titans are on the clock. Washington wants to trade up. Do you do that?
Right. What do we want?
Washington, I guess I didn't pick, but we're not going to do trades. You are going to keep the pick with Tennessee. My apologies for that. I tried to click him, I guess. But you are going to have the Washington pick or the Tennessee Titans pick. Who are the Titans going to pick?
I am going to pick Cam Ward because he is a culture. He's someone that changes the culture. He's a quarterback, and they really need a quarterback to really change the franchise. And Cam Ward is that guy that can bring leadership. And I just don't think Will Levis is the answer. And I believe the head coach wants to move on from him and get their own guy. And I think Cam Ward is the pick for the Tennessee Titans.
And I think that's a great pick as well. We don't know what the Titans are going to do. They are a wild card with new Bergonzi in there as their GM, saying that they're willing to take calls for the first pick overall. It's really interesting to see what they are going to do. But a lot of the consensus is that they can't pass up on Cam Ward. And I agree with you. I think he has a great chance of going number 1, which brings up the Cleveland Browns, which if this happens where Cam Ward goes number 1 overall, I am running to the podium and taking Abdul Carter. The guy is the best player in this draft. And I think he's a beast. Even though he had things come up with injuries this week, he won't need surgery. And I don't think there's any way that the Cleveland Browns will pass him up, even with rumors of their number 1 defensive end wanting to get traded as well, Myles Garrett. So Abdul Carter, you are going to the Cleveland Browns. Hope you like Cleveland, Ohio, bud. Now up on the clock, the New York Giants, another wild card team. Who do you think they go with?
I am so tempted to pick. I know this is outside the box. I'm so tempted to pick Travis Hunter, actually, because I think they need another playmaker on offense. I'm actually going to go pick him because I think they're eyeing another position to really help their offense. I think ultimately they're going to go with the free agent quarterback. They're going to rock with whoever they choose, and they're going to work on building their offense and get another receiver, whatever this young man decides to play for the Giants. If he does receiver, he'd be great next to Malik Neighbors. But he's my pick. I believe that the Giants are going to go best available player, especially if they do go the free agent quarterback route.
That's a great pick for them. And I don't know with Travis Hunter. I don't know if he's more suited to be a cornerback, receiver. I don't think he is going to play both positions. I honestly don't. I think that's just too much on an NFL player taking too much hits. It would end his career too soon. So I think with the Giants, they would need another receiver, and I don't think they would ever pass up on Travis Hunter and Malik Neighbors being their 1-2 punch. I think that's just a great pick. And that brings us to New England. Oh, New England has a lot of needs. They need a new defensive tackle. because Godchow wants out of there. They need an offensive line because they had the worst one in the NFL last year.
Mhm.
There's a lot of ways they could go. They could go Tet McMillan as well.
Mhm.
But what I think they are going to do, I think they are going to take the best defensive lineman available, and I think they're going to actually take Mason Graham.
Mm.
I think that is somebody who they're going to go with. He's somebody who can play anywhere on the defensive line. He's physical, and he's a no-nonsense type of player as well. I think he is going to come in and just wreak havoc on any offensive line, and New England would love to have him as well, especially with their new defensive-minded coach, Mike Vrabel. I think
Mhm.
Mason Graham would fit really well with New England, which would suck for our Jets. Now moving on to Jacksonville. Where do you think the Jaguars go?
I am going to stick with offensive line and pick Will Johnson to beef up their offensive line to help Trevor Lawrence out. That would be my pick. Build up the offensive line, build up the defensive line. I think with the new GM, he wants to play it safe. He talked highly of Trevor Lawrence from what I've heard, and I think his main job is to get more protection for Trevor Lawrence.
All right. So Will Campbell, the tackle from LSU, going to Jacksonville.
And I
I
said Will
know.
Johnson by accident.
No worries. Will Johnson came out and said that he would love to play for the Jets, like so many players at the combine said they'd love to play for the Jets, which made me really excited. So I'm so pumped for that. But Will Campbell going to the Jaguars, which I think you need to do anything you can to protect Trevor Lawrence after all the concussions last year. I think that would be a solid pick. You have somebody who can come in and play either side, either tackle position. But Will Campbell would come in, be your left tackle of the future. And I think that would be a solid pick for the Jaguars, which would bring us to the Las Vegas Raiders. And they have so many different needs. They have Jacoby Myers as their number one receiver. I don't know if I could consider him a number one receiver on any other team. So they could go McMillan. Shador Sanders is still on the list. Do they go him? Do they go cornerback because they always need help with the defense? Another player, Ashton Genty, has been rumored to go, that they love him as well. But I think with all the rumors going on and everything, I think they end up going with Shador Sanders at the Raiders pick, which they would get their quarterback of the future. Sanders said he would love to play for them as well, would love to go there. He came out today and said he's a culture changer. And if you don't want a changing culture, don't come get him. The Raiders definitely need that, especially now with their new coach, Pete Carroll, in there. And I think that's somebody who they would love to have. And leading us into our New York Jets. Krista, who do you think the Jets would pick at number 7?
I think ultimately the Jets would probably look at this board and probably trade back. But since we are not doing that, we are staying put. And I am going to go with, ooh, this is tough. I'm actually going to go with Tyler Warren because I think he fits the offense. He's going to block, he can catch. They need more playmakers. And I just can see, like we mentioned before, Muji really falling in love with them. And he could help the run game. He could block. He could just do so much for this offense. So I'm going with Tyler Warren. Probably not the most popular pick, but that's a guy that I would at least go for. Or broke this way.
In all honesty, like a lot of Jets fans would love Tyler Warren. I'm one of them. I think tight end at 7 is too high, but if they picked him, I'd be fine with it. And we missed out on Brock Bowers last year, which a lot of people were upset with. And I think they would get their wish finally with Tyler Warren coming in. And if you look at our new offense, Tanner Angstrand came from Detroit. And what did they do? They used a lot of 2 tight end sets and had their tight ends blocking, which helped them have a top 5 offensive line in the league last year. And Tyler Warren is a monster blocker. So if he comes in and helps with that, I think that could really help the Jets. Playmaker, leader, culture changer. I think that's a great pick for our New York Jets.
Definitely. Thank you.
Very welcome. Leading us into the Carolina pick. And there's a ton of ways that they can go here. They can go edge rusher, D-line. You're looking at how the board has fallen so far. McMillan is down here. Could they use another receiver? Probably. Ashton Genty running back. Honestly, I think they go Michael Williams out of Georgia. I think he's just too good to
that
pass
would be.
up. I think he's too good to pass up there. And he's somebody who can come in and just help Carolina right away.
Definitely.
Leading us into New Orleans. Where do you think New Orleans goes? Because I know they were probably looking at him and pissed that a team in their division just got him. So where do you think New Orleans turns?
I'm very tempted to pick McMillan to pair up with Olave, and I think I'm gonna go. I can't help myself. If the board came this way, I'm picking McMillan to have more receivers with Derek Carr, give him more weapons. Whether they go quarterback next year, which they probably will with Derek Carr, no offense, but let's build up the offense and get another weapon.
Do you think there's validity to the rumors that Chris Olave might be traded? Because that was coming out a lot lately. Jets were one of the teams that were brought up in that discussion.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I personally can't really see it. I think most of it's noise, but it's definitely possible, though. I just think for me, I would pick McMillan if the board broke this way, just so to get more weapons that with Olave, paired up with Olave, because Michael Thomas, unfortunately, as good as he is, he's always injured.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a 1-2 point punch at receiver.
And I love that pick. Plus, best player available at that point. I think that would be a slam dunk for New Orleans. Derek Carr would be very happy too because he's getting a bigger receiver and just somebody who can come in and make plays day one. I think that's an awesome pick.
Thank you.
Bringing us up to Chicago. And I don't think there's any question here. The Bears need to help Caleb Williams. After the disaster of a blocking season they had, they have to go the best lineman available, and that is Kelvin Banks from Texas. They need to do what they can to help this kid, Caleb Williams. If they want to survive, they have the receivers, they have the weapons. Get the kid some blocking, man, because that was bad last year. The kid, he's lucky he didn't get injured at all last year.
Agreed.
So going with Banks here for Chicago, I think would be the best play for them. Bringing us to San Francisco, who could have also used tackle help, but there's a lot of things that they could use that could help them out here. And where do you think San Francisco goes?
I am going to go. I'm very tempted to pick the edge rusher from Georgia to help out Todd Bowles' defense, Jalen Walker. Give him another weapon. Give him another pass rusher for the San Francisco. So I would go with Mr. Jalen Walker, give more pass rush and help the 49ers out there and pair up with Boza.
And that would be a killer defense, especially now with our former head coach, Robert Saleh, back with there. You know he loves his pass rushers on the defensive line or on the outside. So that is going to be a fantastic play for them. Steal for them.
Definitely.
Bringing us into the Dallas Cowboys. And, you never know what these guys are going to do. It's always so crazy with Jerry Jones at the helm. Didn't help out his team at all. Didn't help Dak out. And you never know, really, where they are going to go. And they could go Ashton Genty. They can go cornerback. They can go offensive line. They can go edge rusher. They need a lot of help, especially with Micah Parsons seemingly wanting out of there. But honestly, I think if they were smart here, I know running back is probably a big need for them, but you can find good, solid running backs in free agency. I think they're going to take the best available tackle, and that is going to be Membao from Missouri. And I think beefing up that offensive line, getting a new tackle for the future, whether it's on the left side or right side, I think could help Dallas out a ton here.
Definitely, I agree with you on that.
Well, thank you so much. Leading us into one of our most hated rivals, the Miami Dolphins. Where do you think they go?
I am going to actually pick Malik Starks. I'm on a roll with picking Georgia players, and setting them off to my teams that I'm picking. But I just see that they really need safety help, especially with the one of their safeties. They're going to probably lose in free agency, so they need a starter at safety. So I'm going to pick Mr. Starks to fill up the need.
And that's a solid pick, especially since they're going to be losing Javon Holland, which is shocking because the kid's only in his mid-20s. I think he's like 24 or 25, and to lose a caliber player like that is insane to me. But hey, the Raiders might be losing Trayvon Morgan, who's only 25 as well, and he's somebody who I'm really high on in free agency this year.
Definitely.
Getting us into Indianapolis, and they need a ton. They don't trust Anthony Richardson, and could they go quarterback? They definitely could. And could they go cornerback? The best Will Johnson's still on the board, who's a steal. Man, tight end. If Tyler Warren fell there, they would have been salivating for him. But honestly, I think they are gonna go. Looking at the board, how it's fallen right now, I think they're going to go interior offensive line because their offensive line was in shambles as well. And I think Tyler Booker is going to be as a surprise pick right there and head to the Indianapolis Colts because they're a team that has shocked people before with their picks. And I don't think they're going to stop doing that. So I think Tyler Booker from Alabama is going to be the pick there.
Nice.
Leading us into Atlanta. Where do you think they go?
Let's go up. I am very tempted how the board felt to take Will Johnson here and give him a cornerback help for their defense. Yeah,
that defensive backcourt could be nasty.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
So you're picking Will Johnson?
Yeah, I'm picking Will Johnson. That's how the board's picking him. I think
that's a steal for them. Man, oh man. I'm honestly shocked with us picking. I'm like, damn. It's just teams didn't need cornerback, really. The Jets were the ones who I think needed cornerback help the most. Maybe Indianapolis, but I think line was more of a priority for them. But, man, Atlanta getting him, it would be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Getting to Arizona, there's been a lot of rumors around them this offseason with Kyler Murray, possibly trading him. I don't think that would make much sense for them. So I think they're going to go after the edge, Mike Green, who's been shooting up draft boards.
Yeah.
And I think he is going to be the pick for them. And I think they need to beef up that defense. Wasn't very good last year. I think adding Green would help solidify that edge pressure for them.
Definitely, I do.
And leading into Cincinnati, who could definitely use some defensive help, but there's also some really good picks up there. Who do you think Cincinnati goes with?
Oh, man, this is tough.
If you'd like me to scroll down, I can scroll down for you.
Yeah, let's scroll down a bit.
There's more. If we go to the next. Is there any position that you would like to check out for them?
Let's see receiver. Just because there's rumors of Tay Higgins.
Yeah, that's true. I think they might franchise tag him. That's what it's looking like. Are any of these guys, in your opinion, worth picking at 17?
I really like. I can't say. I can't pronounce.
Egbuka?
Yeah.
I love him. He's my second ranked receiver in this draft, and I'm so happy that Aaron Glenn made a comment about Ohio State receivers they always produce good ones. And imagine putting Egbuka next to Garrett Wilson with Justin Fields throwing him the ball or Will Howard. Oh man, just bring in the Ohio State team like Eagles did with the Georgia team last year.
Oh yeah.
So you think they go Igbuka?
That's what I'm gonna go with. Yes.
I think that's a steal. I think he goes. I think he's really, really underrated. He's
Okay.
the best route runner in this draft. I think he has the best hands as a receiver. Size wise, McMillan has him, but
Mm-hmm.
man, Igbuka, I think, is very slept on. A lot of people talk about him, but
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just too good.
I agree.
And getting into Seattle, where do they go? Man, they could use a quarterback. And would they shock people by picking a quarterback here? Because they want Geno, they want to re-sign him.
Yeah.
I don't think they go quarterback here. Edge rusher. They could go Pierce. Simmons is another option. There's defense is plentiful in this draft. Defensive line, edge rushers, they're so good. So I think the biggest drop off is the offensive line, and I think Josh Simmons from Ohio State has to be the pick there.
Yes.
Leading us into Tampa Bay and your beloved Tampa Bay Mayfields.
I love Baker.
Where do you think Tampa Bay goes?
Let's go with defense. I'm very, very tempted to pick my favorite safety in the draft.
Ooh,
I'm very tempted. I
so
would.
safety, you're thinking?
Yeah, there, my boy Nick Early.
The guy's gonna be Cam Chancellor. He's a beast.
They need help on defense, so that's gonna be my pick for Tampa Bay.
I think solid with how he performed at the combine today. He's an athletic freak. He's a thumper. He is somebody. He's a Cam Chancellor. He's going to bring the boom, and I love that pick for them. That's solid. Bringing us to Denver. Could they go receiver? They could. Tight end is another one. Linebacker. Interior offensive line. This is a tough one because there's a lot of great players on the board here. Colston Loveland's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say he's the second best tight end in this draft. I would disagree. I think Harold Fanon is getting overlooked a lot. I think he could end up being the best one in this draft long term. Where'd they go? Jihad Campbell. I think I'm going to go Jihad Campbell.
Nice.
He is a solid linebacker and it's somebody who also killed at the combine yesterday, I believe it was. Yeah, yesterday. He performed really, really well. And I think he's going to shoot up a lot of draft boards. And that defense could always use more help when it comes to the linebackers. Jihad Campbell, I think, is too good to pass up there. Bringing us to Pittsburgh. Where do you think they go?
I am very tempted to pick Genty here only because I'm not 100% sure. And as much as I love Alabama, Najee Harris is the guy. And I think they're looking at Genty and they're like, we can't pass this guy up to help our offense. If the board somehow fell like this, I think they'll be running up to the podium to take Genty.
I think so too. That is just too good for them to pass up because I think both of their starting running backs are on a free agent this year. Not just Najee, but they always seem to get really good players to fall to them. And running back is not as big of a priority as it used to be. And Genty, I think, is great. But I think he's going to fall a little bit, which is going to shock people. But I think Pittsburgh's a solid place for him.
Thank you.
Leading us with the Chargers. Now, they can go a lot of different ways here. And with Harbaugh there, I'm always tempted to go offense because he's an offensive-minded guy. As he was a quarterback in the NFL. But their defense did let them down a lot this year, especially in the run defense. So I think they're going to scroll down here and take Kenneth Grant, Michigan defensive lineman, who I think is going to be a great run stuffer, somebody who I think will shoot up draft boards as well, and somebody who might be looked at more than the other defensive lineman that we picked earlier. So Grant is going to go to the Chargers here.
Nice. That's a good pick.
Leading us into Green Bay. Where would you think Green Bay is going to go?
I think I'm gonna go with tight end. Let's see what are the available tight ends.
All right. So we got Colston Loveland, Elijah Arroyo, Harold Fainin.
I am gonna go with Loveland and give Jordan Love more weapons to work with on offense.
Solid pick. He needs as much weapons as he can get. His receiving core is good, but the tight ends are a lot to be desired. I like Kraft, but you throw in another tight end like Loveland, and I think they'll be solid.
Absolutely, I agree.
Leading us into Minnesota. They need a lot of help on defense. Safety is another solid one that they can go with. D-line is somewhere they can go as well. Walter Nolan's still there.
He's good.
Xavier Watts. I really like Xavier Watts a lot in this draft. But I think let's check edge as well. Pierce is still there. Man. Defensive line, I think. And they're going to go with Walter Nolan. He's best defensive tackle left on the board at that point, and I think you have to take him. Leading us into Houston. Where do you think the Texans go?
I'm actually going to go pick another receiver. I'm going to pick another receiver and to help out Diggs and now I can't forget now I just can't think of his name offhand. Oh my God.
I can't think of him either. I had him on my fantasy team last year. Nico Collins.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Man.
Why can't I think of his name? It just slipped my mind. I am going to pick I'm going to pick Luther here and give CJ Stroud more weapons. I just saw at the end of the year when Diggs was hurt and Nico Collins went down. It's the offense, unfortunately, took a big decline, and I just felt so bad for him. And that's going to be my pick. Add more weapons on offense for him.
And I love that pick because Diggs is a free agent this year, and I don't think they bring him back.
That's very true.
So Luther Burden could be a nice fill-in. I think he's a very similar to receiver to Diggs. So get younger, get somebody who doesn't get really injured. The guy can block as well. Great route runner, strong hands. I think he comes in and helps Nico Collins. Good compliment to Nico Collins right away. Leading us into the Rams. And I am going to make a very, very shocking pick here because Stafford is coming back, but I don't think I think he's good for one more year. So I'm going to go to quarterback, and I'm going to take our boy Jackson Dart. I think Dart goes there for the Rams. I think being in a McVay type of offense will be doing really well for him. And Stafford, learning under Stafford for a year, I think could really help Jackson Dart because I don't think he can come in and start day one. But give him a year to learn under one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And man, I think the sky's the limit for Jackson Dart.
Absolutely.
There, which is a shocking pick. And I think the Rams would have to do it because if you don't have a quarterback, as Jet fans know, then you're not going to play well. Hell, we had Rodgers last year and won 5 games.
Yep.
Going into Baltimore, where do you think Baltimore goes?
Ooh, this is tough. This is tough for Baltimore. I think they're pretty much, in my opinion, they have a very complete team. Roll down, yeah.
Is there any specific position that you'd want here?
I'm actually gonna play on the safe side and go offensive lineman and build up the offensive line and pick Josh here.
Solid pick.
Up the offensive line, yeah. They're so
anything to help Lamar.
Exactly. Beef off the offensive line.
Bring us to Detroit. And like you just said about Baltimore, I don't think they have a lot of weaknesses. They have a really complete team as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to go best player available. And on the board right now is James Pierce. Fills a need. They need another edge rusher. And how this guy performed at the draft or the combine so far, I think he'd be a great pick for Detroit here.
Definitely.
Bringing us into the Washington pick, and they chose edge rusher Stewart from
I would have picked him.
Texas A&M. Yeah, I think he was going to go there no matter what. Bringing us to Buffalo. Where do you think Buffalo goes?
See. I would hate for him to go here because I absolutely love him. Even though he's a Longhorn, I'm picking Matthew Golden.
Oh, not another weapon for them.
I know. I hate myself.
Oh, no. But honestly, that is a solid pick. With how Khalil Shakir played this year, they're losing Amari Cooper. Bringing in another weapon like that, especially with the new guy they had, Coleman, I think his last name was. Oh man, that bringing him in, another young stud wide receiver, that Buffalo would be jumping for joy there.
Exactly. It pained me to choose them, but I just can see myself can see them going wide receiver and picking him to add to their wide receiving core.
It was a good pick though. I think that was a solid pick for them. And bringing us to Kansas City, and if we had any complaint about Kansas City, you saw it throughout the playoffs. You saw it in the Super Bowl. Their offensive line all year was atrocious. And the biggest reason for that was the offensive tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Problem for them, though, is a lot of the good ones went. So do you reach for Ursary from Minnesota? That would be a big reach. I'm going to go interior offensive line because there is a lot of offensive linemen that can bump out to tackle. I think they have to take the best one available, and that's Zabel.
Yeah.
The guy can play center. He can play guard. I think he can bump out to tackle as well, but they need any offensive line help that they can get. And that brings us into the final pick. You got our first pick overall, and you get our final pick overall with the Philadelphia Eagles. Krista, where do you think the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles go in the final pick of the draft?
This is tough. This is tough.
I'm going to go back to the all for you so you can see who's still on the board.
I'm actually going to go pick the best player available and pick a cornerback. So I am going to go with
Donde Barron.
Correct, yes.
So that was a good pick. They got ranked B+ for that one. And overall, honestly, I could definitely see the draft falling that way. Honestly. Like, that was something that could definitely happen. We had a lot of shockers in there. We had a lot of solid picks too, like taking the best players available. And honestly, I could definitely see that. And with the picks, I think they were accurate. We went with team needs. We went with best players available. Tyler Warren to the Jets is a great pick, and I think that could definitely be a possibility. And I think a lot more quarterbacks are going to go in the first round as well. That's why I think Dart's going to be a first-round pick. Don't be shocked if you see Kyle McCord sneak his way up into the first round as well. I think that guy is going to be a beast too.
I think Milrow might sneak into the early second round because I think someone's going to look at him and be like, huh, we have the patience to really coach him up. We're going to sit him next to whichever veteran quarterback, and he can be our potential starting quarterback moving forward if he gets the right we have the right coaching and the right system. I really think someone's going to draft him in the early second round for Jalen Milrow.
I think he's going to test out so well at the combine. I'm not worried about his athleticism. He terrifies me because I was big on Jalen Milrow as well. I was big on him early in the offseason, but then at the Senior Bowl, he was awful. In his bowl game, he was bad. And just the last couple of things that we saw from him was not great. His decision making isn't great. His footwork isn't great. And he'll bail out of that pocket as soon as pressure gets to him. But the guy has a cannon of an arm and just athletic as hell.
Definitely.
So he could go in the first round, early second. I could also see him dropping a lot depending on how he does at the combine.
I think early second, probably. That's probably where I currently have him, but that could definitely change. I'm a big Alabama fan, so I saw how he went, and I just saw this poor guy, unfortunately, just regress. It just seemed like as each game came on, especially that Oklahoma game, ouch.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just like he unfortunately lost his confidence, and then you see the Georgia game, and he looked so good, and then it just looked like after the game broke down, and after they started to figure out how to really figure out the offense and how to get pressure on Jalen Milroe, it kind of felt like the poor guy just lost his confidence, and it just went downhill from there, unfortunately.
Do you feel that he do you feel like he was let down by his team? Because a lot of people said this was one of the, I don't want to say worst because they were still a good team, but it wasn't the most talented
Mhm.
Alabama team they've had in a while. And Milroe brought them up a lot. Do you
Mhm.
think he was a victim of the personnel around him, or do you think he just made boneheaded mistakes and did it to himself?
I think it was a little bit of both. That's how at least I see it because I saw the best of him, and then it's just how the season like progressively went down for him. You just saw him lose confidence. You just saw him make those mistakes. It just felt like his head was not there. Like he needed someone to talk him up, and it was just really sad to see. It's just I don't know what happened between the coaching or his confidence or what happened, but the whole morale after the Georgia game, like the second half of the Georgia game, I don't know what happened to my Alabama team. It just like was a roller coaster after that. I watched the Georgia game and I'm like, oh my God, we're back. And then I see the Vanderbilt. I'm like, oh my God, who is this?
Tale of two halves, basically. They were. It was basically like our team too. We
Yeah.
just we would play well in the first half or do awful in the first half with our Jets, and then come alive in the second and be like, well, it wasn't good enough, and just make boneheaded mistakes. But honestly, I think Jalen Milroe,
Mhm.
I comped him as like a Randall Cunningham if for a
Mhm.
ceiling. I think he can be really good, but
Mhm.
his floor for me was a Anthony Richardson.
Oh man.
Yeah, and imagine the Colts shock
Ooh.
everybody and pick him in the first round to have him and Anthony Richardson on the same team.
Oh my gosh.
Never know what could happen.
Oh my gosh. You
But
never know.
thank you so much again for joining me on this. I'm still so giddy and happy that you're here. You are you are somebody who's really really inspirational on X. I love all your opinions whether we agree or not. And a lot of Jets fans on X too support you and are always like, hell yeah, go Krista and stuff like that. Anytime Dart comes up, they'll tag you in posts and
I know.
stuff like that. And I'm just so excited that I was able to get you on the channel. And thank you so much again. Where can our fans find you? Where can we find you at?
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm even a bigger fan of you than you are of me. But trust me, I'm just so proud of you. I'm proud of you for making a platform and having a creative space where you can show everyone your knowledge and your passion. Because I truly believe that you're going to go really far and your Jet content. And I just so happy to be your friend and to be a supporter of all that.
Thank you
And
so much. I appreciate that.
oh, of course. And thank you for having me. And I am very active on X or Twitter on ThatsSoChrista _ I am constantly tweeting about the Jets. My love for Jackson Dart is currently #1 at the moment. But I do love talking Jets football, and you're more than welcome to follow me. And I look forward to talking Jets football with you and everyone else on Jets Twitter.
Thank you so much again for joining the channel. You know you're always welcome here. You know we talk a lot on X, so whenever you want to jump on, you are always welcome here. Even I know we talked about I'm going live for the first round of the draft. If you don't go to Jet Stadium, you know you are welcome on the channel that night as well. But thank you so much again for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem. And guys, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Leave comments. Let us know how you liked our draft. Let us know what players we missed, what players you liked going. And thank you again so much for joining me on the JETS Jets board. Thank you guys very much.